What if the trash you walk past every day could become the most beautiful corner of your garden? Today, on Revive Nature, we're unlocking DIY trash garden ideas, creative ways to turn bottles, tires, cans, and pipes into colorful borders, seats, and living art. This video has timestamps, so feel free to jump where inspiration calls. And if you have questions, drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Maybe to you, I'm just another voice on your screen. But behind this work is a real story and a real family. This isn't just a video, it's a piece of my heart. Every like, every comment, every subscribe, they mean more than you think. When you subscribe, you're not just supporting a channel. You're helping keep a dream alive. You're giving a small family hope, one click at a time. Thank you for watching. Thank you for seeing me. What if the trash you walk past every day could become the most beautiful corner of your garden? Today, on Revive Nature, we're unlocking DIY trash garden ideas, creative ways to turn bottles, tires, in a quiet morning, and pipes into colorful with a gentle burst of colors and living art. Along the front yard, this video has time made not of wood or stone, so feel free to jump where inspiration now reborn into a dazzling rainbow. And if you have questions, drop them in the comments. Trash. I'd love to hear stand tall as guardians of beauty. I'm just another voice on your painted with every shade of joy. But behind this work is a real story and a real family. Each bottle with warmth. This isn't just a video. The ground is filled with playful hues. Every light, every comment, every subscribe, and blue, they mean more dancing than you across the petals when of you subscribe and you're not just supporting a channel. Visitors walking you're past helping cannot help but slow their steps. You're giving a small family hope, some one click at a time. Curious how something so ordinary Thank you for seeing art. Children point with excitement, their eyes sparkling like the bottles themselves. This fence is more than decoration, it is a story of second chances. In the backyard, near the patio where laughter often lingers, the rainbow edging frames sedum autumn joy and Japanese anemones. The flowers bow lightly to the colorful guardians beside them, as though acknowledging their companionship. The fence does not claim grandeur. Instead, it whispers humility, reminding every guest that beauty is often hidden in places we overlook. As the day shifts, shadows dance across the bottles, and each color transforms with the light. Morning shines with freshness, afternoon glows with warmth, and evening rests in soft reflections. The tiny path lined with this rainbow border becomes a walk through imagination, each step guiding hearts toward creativity. This is not simply a DIY project, it is a living poem, written with patience, brushes of color, and the belief that nothing is truly wasted. In the harmony of recycled bottles and blooming perennials, the garden sings a song of renewal. Anyone who enters feels its tune, that joy can be built, beauty can be grown, and hope can be painted in every shade of the rainbow. In the language of gardens, even old wheels can learn to bloom. Once rolling across forgotten roads, the tires now find their place in quiet corners of front yards and backyards, painted tenderly in hues of pastel and rainbow. From their solid forms rises a throne, not for kings or queens, but for dreamers, wanderers, and lovers of simple beauty. In the front yard, one such bloom throne rests against a rustic white fence. Its soft pink and mint green tones cradle a cushion of floral prints, inviting passers-by to pause, to sit, and to breathe among the chrysanthemums and asters that guard its sides. Children giggle as they climb upon it, discovering a magical seat where stories begin. In the backyard, under the watchful arms of a pergola, another throne emerges. Lavender tires stack gracefully, their curves softened by vines and the golden sparks of marigold flowers. Here, the afternoon sun filters through leaves, spilling shadows across stone pavers. A small wooden table waits nearby, perhaps for tea, or perhaps for the quiet companionship of a book. Even in the smallest gardens, the bloom thrones make space for comfort. Surrounded by sedum autumn joy and Japanese anemones, a rainbow throne brightens the tiniest paths. Its colors declare boldly that even in limited soil, beauty can flourish. Visitors who stumble upon it are drawn as if by spell, enchanted by its playful defiance of what trash should be. These thrones are more than seats, they are altars of imagination. They remind us that the old and discarded may rise again, reshaped into something vibrant, joyful, and filled with purpose. In every painted curve, there is a promise that comfort can be crafted, and beauty can be born anew from the humblest beginnings. And so the garden whispers its secret to those who listen, sit, rest, and remember that even the most worn paths can lead to fresh wonder. When dusk arrives, the garden finds a new rhythm. As the sky softens into lavender and gold, the first lantern flickers awake, then another, until the night is sprinkled with gentle fire. Yet these are not lanterns born of glass and metal. They are humble tin cans, once discarded, now transformed into jewels of light. Painted in shades of rainbow, turquoise, crimson, lemon yellow, they hang beneath pergolas and along fences, glowing from within. Each cut-out star or petal sends streams of brightness onto flowers below. Marigolds catch the light, their golden faces shining even brighter. Sedum autumn joy reflects pink glimmers, as though sharing secrets with the lanterns. On the fence, a line of cans glows like a festival procession. Asters bow beneath the soft radiance, their purple heads crowned in shimmering halos. Neighbors passing by slow their steps, drawn into the quiet celebration that spills warmth into the evening air. It feels like a secret village feast, crafted with nothing more than color, light, and imagination. On the patio, laughter grows beneath the neon glow of painted cans. Families gather at a wooden table, their conversations blooming as vividly as the flowers surrounding them. The lanterns sway gently in the night breeze, their reflections dancing across the faces of Japanese anemones. The garden, once quiet, becomes alive with joy, woven together by light and color. These lanterns are not just decorations, they are symbols of transformation. What was once trash has found purpose again, illuminating moments of rest, togetherness, and wonder. They remind us that beauty is not costly, nor does it demand perfection. It can be simple, playful, and born from hands willing to create. And so, as the night deepens, the garden becomes a living canvas of light and bloom. Each lantern whispers softly, "Nothing is too small, too broken, or too forgotten to shine again." There is something timeless about a wheel. Once it carried burdens across long roads, turning endlessly without rest. But in the garden, it finds a new destiny, no longer in motion, but in bloom. In the front yard, a turquoise wheel leans gently against a wooden fence. Golden accents glimmer softly as sunlight slides across its frame. Between its spokes, marigolds and chrysanthemums unfold their colors, turning the once weary wheel into a crown of flowers. Children stop at the gate, pointing with delight at the unlikely sculpture, while neighbors nod in admiration of its rustic artistry. Behind the house, in the quiet of the backyard, another wheel rests. Its iron frame, now brushed with rustic bronze, shines with quiet dignity. The pergola above drapes it in vines, while asters and sedum autumn joy weave a tapestry of purples and pinks at its feet. Hanging baskets of Japanese anemones sway gently from its form, as if the wheel itself has learned to breathe with the garden. Evening visitors linger longer here, captivated by the way old iron carries new life. Even in the smallest garden, the wheel planter finds a home. Painted in rainbow tones, each spoke a different color, it bursts with playful energy. Marigolds in orange, asters in violet, chrysanthemums in gold, together they form a circle of joy, echoing the eternal turning of seasons. Against a bamboo fence, the rainbow wheel shines as both memory and renewal. These wheels are not silent relics of the past, they are storytellers. They whisper of roads traveled, of burdens carried, and of how beauty may rise even when journeys end. In their rebirth as planters, they offer a lesson that nothing is too old, too heavy, or too worn to become a vessel of joy. And so the garden turns, not with wheels in motion, but with wheels in bloom, ever turning, ever alive, in colors brighter than before. At the edge of every garden lies its frame, a quiet boundary that holds the blooms together. While stone and wood may be common, here the borders glow with something unexpected: pipes, once hidden underground, now lifted into the light, dressed in colors that sing. In the front yard, the pipes stand tall, cut evenly and painted into a rainbow. Their glossy skins catch the morning sun, scattering reflections across marigolds and chrysanthemums. Visitors pause at the gate, their eyes drawn first to the flowers, then to the cheerful border that holds them. The pipes, once plain and forgotten, now shine as strokes of paint on a living canvas. In the backyard, the edges curve like gentle waves. Neon colors, pink, yellow, green, and blue, line the patio in playful rhythm. Asters and sedum autumn joy lean against the border, their blossoms adding texture to the bright parade. On the wooden bench nearby, someone lingers longer than usual, savoring how the garden feels both handmade and alive, touched with imagination. Even the smallest corners are not left behind. A tiny garden path is guarded by pastel pipes, each one a soft shade of lavender, mint, or peach. Japanese anemones bow gracefully beside them, their petals glowing in the gentle light. It feels like a dream, subtle yet striking, humble yet artistic. These rainbow edges are not merely borders, they are declarations of joy. They show that beauty can be built not with wealth but with vision, not with expensive tools but with a willingness to see potential where others see waste. The pipes, once silent, now tell a story of renewal, how color can transform the overlooked into something beloved. And so the gardens stand, not fenced by stone or steel, but by laughter in the form of rainbows. They remind us that boundaries need not restrain, they can also celebrate, framing blossoms with colors that call every passerby to smile. Sometimes, the garden becomes a stage for a parade. Not of people or banners, but of tiny creatures born from bottles once tossed away. With paint and imagination, they march again, not crawling in the dirt, but standing proudly along the edges of flower beds. At the garden path, a row of bright red ladybugs guards the soil. Their glossy shells shimmer in the sun, each black spot playful as a wink. Children who pass giggle, reaching out as though the bugs might scuttle away. Beside them, marigolds and chrysanthemums sway gently, their colors echoing the lively rhythm of the little guardians. In the backyard, the parade grows larger. Green caterpillars curl along the soil, yellow beetles shine, and butterflies spread wings of blue. They are not alive in the way nature defines life, yet they radiate joy, as if celebrating their rebirth. Sedum autumn joy leans into their company, and asters bloom brighter in the cheerful company. Above, a pergola casts gentle shade, making the scene feel like a secret carnival. Even the front yard joins in the fun. Here, The bottles transform into dragonflies with slender wings and butterflies with painted patterns, lined up neatly around Japanese anemones. Their large eyes seem to watch kindly over the blooms. Against the backdrop of a white picket fence, they appear as friendly guardians, inviting every passerby to smile. This parade is more than decoration, it is proof of transformation. Trash has become play, waste has become wonder. These creatures, crafted from what others might discard, stand as reminders that creativity is the thread that ties joy to the ordinary. And so, the garden becomes alive not just with flowers, but with characters, little storytellers in the shape of bugs. They whisper to every visitor, beauty is not found only in perfection, but also in play, in laughter, and in the courage to imagine something new. In the heart of every garden, there is always a spot where people gather, a place not only for flowers, but for stories, laughter, and quiet reflection. Here, old tires once abandoned on forgotten roads are given new purpose, stacked, painted, and transformed into a farmhouse table set. On the rustic patio, creamy white tires rise gently, crowned with wooden planks that form a sturdy table. Around it, chairs wait for company, while marigolds nearby add bursts of gold. The table does not boast luxury, but it radiates a comfort that only handmade creations can hold. When tea is poured, the sound feels sweeter in the air touched by flowers. In the backyard, pastel tones of lavender and mint green paint another tire table set, softer and more inviting. Small stools of painted tires surround it, each topped with a cushion, ready for conversations that last beyond sunset. Sedum autumn joy and chrysanthemums bloom nearby, their blossoms echoing the colors of the furniture. Under a pergola draped with vines, families sit longer than they planned, wrapped in the magic of a place that feels made just for them. Even the tiniest garden can hold such wonder. A rainbow tire table, its surface topped with glass, glimmers beside a bamboo fence. Stools shaped from smaller tires complete the scene, bright and cheerful. Japanese anemones lean close, as though curious about the stories whispered over teacups and laughter. Though space is small, the feeling is vast, full of color, joy, and belonging. These tables are not just furniture, they are promises. Promises that beauty can be shaped from what was once waste, that gatherings can be made richer by creativity, and that even humble materials can become the heart of a garden. And so, every painted tire, every bloom nearby, sings in harmony. Sit, share, and remember that joy is built not from perfection, but from the courage to reimagine what already exists. When daylight fades and the garden sighs into evening, the gazebo awakens in a soft glow. From its beams hang lanterns that were once plain cans, forgotten in the shadows of kitchens. Now, painted in colors that burst with joy, they shine again, casting warmth across flowers and faces alike. In a rustic gazebo, bright red, yellow, and turquoise can spill starlight through tiny cutouts. The glow falls upon marigolds and sedum autumn joy, making their blossoms shimmer as though kissed by fireflies. Visitors stepping into the gazebo feel a hush, as if they've entered a quiet festival held only for them. Elsewhere, the backyard turns lively. Neon pink and green cans dangle in strings, creating a canopy of light. Beneath them, a wooden table awaits laughter and shared meals. Chrysanthemums and Japanese anemones bow slightly under the gentle radiance, as though offering their petals to the celebration. Conversations stretch long into the evening, the glow wrapping every guest in a sense of belonging. Even the smallest gardens hold their magic. In a tiny gazebo corner, lanterns painted in pastel lavender and mint sway gently. Their light dances across asters blooming nearby, turning petals into tiny stained glass windows. The bamboo fence behind reflects the softness, making the scene intimate, almost secret, a private sanctuary bathed in gentle light. These glowing cans are more than lanterns. They are reminders that light can be found in what is often thrown away, that beauty can emerge when imagination dares to transform. Each can, pierced with patterns and painted with love, becomes a vessel of warmth, guiding the night toward joy. In the heart of the gazebo, under strings of glowing color, the garden teaches its truth: nothing is too small to shine. And so, as darkness falls, the lanterns burn brighter, not with extravagance, but with the quiet triumph of second chances. The spirit of a Japanese garden lies not in grandeur, but in harmony, quiet lines, soft colors, and the balance between earth, water, and bloom. Even humble pipes, once hidden in the ground, can rise to play their part in this serene composition. Along a gravel path, pipes painted in earthy browns and moss greens stand like bamboo stalks, guiding each step with quiet dignity. Chrysanthemums and sedum autumn joy bloom at their feet, adding bursts of color to the calm palette. A stone lantern rests nearby, its presence ancient and steady, while the pipes remind us that renewal can echo tradition. In a backyard corner, bonsai trees stretch their miniature arms toward the sky. Around them, pipes painted in muted beige and green form a subtle frame, almost blending into the soil. Asters and marigolds add a whisper of brightness, while a rustic bench invites reflection. Here, the border is not loud, it is humble, a quiet partner to the artistry of living trees. By the pond in a tiny garden, pipes painted in bamboo hues edge the water's rim. Japanese anemones nod at their reflection as koi glide gracefully beneath the surface. The pipes hold the border steady, their rhythm echoing the stillness of the pond. As evening light settles across the scene, the garden feels timeless, as if the present moment is a bridge between past and future. These pipe borders are not about spectacle, they are about belonging. They show how recycled materials, touched with patience and vision, can embody the philosophy of balance. They do not shout, they whisper. They do not demand, they offer. And so, the Japanese garden breathes in quiet harmony, where even trash reborn becomes part of its song. The pipes stand not as intruders, but as companions, reminders that beauty is not about what we use, but how gently we place it into the rhythm of the world. Fences often stand as boundaries, but here they bloom as gardens themselves. What once was junk, bottles tossed aside, cans left to rust, has been reborn into a fence of flowers, each petal painted with joy, each shape whispering of second chances. In the front yard, the fence glitters in sunlight. Bottles cut into petals gleam in reds and yellows, while painted cans shine as their centers. Together they form daisies, marigolds, and chrysanthemums that seem to bloom all year round. Behind them, real flowers echo their colors, so that passers-by pause, unsure where the painting ends and the planting begins. In the backyard, a rainbow spreads across the fence. Junk materials, once dull, are now daisies in turquoise, asters in violet, tulips in orange. Sedum autumn joy grows at the base, softening the wooden planks with its pink blossoms. Children run past laughing, calling it a magic wall, for it holds not just flowers but the sparkle of imagination. Even in the tiniest garden, the fence carries charm. Bottle petals painted pastel pink, lavender, and sky blue shaped blossoms that line a bamboo backdrop. Japanese anemones nod gently beside them, as though welcoming these handmade neighbors. The scene feels whimsical, light-hearted, and tender, a reminder that beauty does not need size, only creativity. This flower fence is more than decoration. It is a bridge between what is wasted and what is wanted, between what was discarded and what now delights. Each junk piece tells a story of resilience, of hands willing to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. And so, the fence ceases to be a barrier. It becomes an invitation, an artwork, a celebration, a living poem painted with bottles and cans. Every visitor who sees it carries away a smile, proof that joy can be crafted from the humblest things, and that even junk can bloom when given a second life. Walls are often plain, silent backdrops. But when bamboo and bottles meet, they become something else entirely, a canvas of blossoms, alive with color and meaning. What was once trash now sings against the bamboo, its voice carried by every petal-shaped piece reborn in paint. On the patio, the wall greets visitors like a burst of joy. Bright red, orange, and yellow bottle blossoms sparkle against the bamboo frame, their petals glowing in the morning sun. Below, marigolds and sedum autumn joy stretch upward as if reaching for their painted companions. The air feels brighter here, as though the wall itself hums with life. In the backyard, softness reigns. Pastel petals of lavender, mint, and peach bloom quietly on the bamboo fence. Between them, real Japanese anemones and asters sway, their natural colors mingling with the painted hues. This corner becomes a retreat, a place where handmade beauty whispers comfort to those who rest beneath the pergola. Even the tiniest garden transforms with a vertical wall of rainbow blossoms. Against the bamboo poles, bottle flowers in every shade form a playful mural, like a child's dream come true. Chrysanthemums at the base echo the wall's colors, while greenery frames the scene in lush harmony. Guests who stumble upon this small sanctuary feel their hearts lifted, their imagination sparked. The bamboo bottle blossom wall is more than decoration, it is a declaration. It tells us that walls need not separate, they can inspire, they can celebrate, they can bloom. Each recycled bottle holds a fragment of creativity, each painted petal a promise that beauty is within reach, even from what others would discard. And so, the wall ceases to be background. It becomes the centerpiece, the heart of the garden. Every glance reminds us of possibility, that joy can be built with simple hands, that renewal can live in bamboo and plastic alike, and that every wall has the power to blossom. The sea has a way of finding its echoes, even far from the shore. In gardens where waves cannot reach, the spirit of the ocean lives again through tires reborn as sculptures. What once carried weight along roads now carries imagination, painted in blues and corals, shaped into treasures of the deep. In the front yard, tires gleam in turquoise and sandy beige, sculpted into seashells that rest among marigolds and chrysanthemums. Against the white picket fence, the colors shine like sunlight on water. Neighbors pause in surprise, their thoughts drifting to distant coastlines, as though the garden has borrowed a piece of the sea. In the backyard, a corner transforms into a tide of colors. Tires painted aqua and coral curl into wave-like shapes, surrounding beds of sedum, autumn joy and asters. The air feels alive, playful, as if ocean spray might appear at any moment. Children run to the sculptures, laughing, their imaginations filling the space with dolphins and mermaids. Even the smallest garden holds magic when tires become marine art. A starfish painted in orange rests beside a pearl-white clam shell, both shaped from rubber once forgotten. Around them, Japanese anemones bloom as though sea plants rising from sand. In the gentle evening light, the tiny corner feels like a hidden tide pool, secret and enchanting. These seascape sculptures are not merely decorations, they are bridges. Bridges between land and ocean, between trash and treasure, between what was lost and what is newly imagined. They remind us that the sea is not only found on distant shores, it can live in colors, in shapes, in the playful heart of a garden. And so, the tires rest no longer in silence. They sing of waves and shells, of journeys taken and journeys yet to come. In their painted curves and playful forms, the garden becomes a seaside haven, carrying the rhythm of tides into every bloom. Every garden has edges, but not all borders carry stories. When old cans are cut, flattened, and painted, they become more than metal. They become mosaics, fragments of art that shine with both color and memory. What was once discarded now holds the lines of a garden, framing blossoms with beauty born from thrift. In the front yard, a path sparkles beneath the morning sun. Bright red, yellow, and blue panels line the soil, their glossy surfaces catching the light like tiny jewels. Chrysanthemums and marigolds bloom beside them, their fiery tones echoing the mosaic's cheer. Each step along the walkway feels like entering a gallery, where art and nature weave together. The backyard tells another story. Here, the cans are painted with geometric designs, diamonds, circles, triangles, arranged in a playful rhythm around flower beds. Sedum, autumn joy and asters soften the edges, while a pergola above drapes the space in shade. Guests walking through smile, recognizing the handmade charm, marveling at how ordinary metal could become so alive. Even the smallest garden finds its voice with pastel mosaics. Lavender and mint shimmer gently against the bamboo fence, framing Japanese anemones that bow gracefully. The edging does not shout, it whispers. It carries a quiet poetry that makes visitors pause, breathe, and remember the simple joy of creating beauty with one's own hands. These mosaics are more than thrifty craft, they are philosophy. They remind us that elegance does not demand wealth, that creativity can flourish in the most humble materials. They are proof that the garden's edges, often overlooked, can be places of wonder just as much as its blooms. And so, the cans shine not with the memory of what they held, but with the promise of what they now give. Along paths and borders, they tell a story of renewal, that beauty need not be bought, it can be imagined, painted, and placed with care. When the wind moves through a garden, it carries more than air. It carries whispers, songs, and the memory of passing time. Under a pergola, where shade meets sunlight, those whispers find shape in chimes made from bottles reborn as blossoms. In the backyard, pastel blooms of lavender, mint, and peach sway gently. Each bottle, once forgotten, is now a flower that dances with the wind. As marigolds and sedum autumn joy sway below, the pergola feels alive, not only with blooms rooted in soil, but with blossoms that float and sing. Visitors pause, listening, smiling as the breeze turns into music. Elsewhere, a pergola brightens in rainbow. Bottles cut into petals gleam in bold reds, yellows, and blues, their reflections painting the asters and chrysanthemums below. The chimes hang at different heights, creating playful patterns of light. When the wind blows, it feels as though the garden itself is laughing, joy spilling into every corner, echoing the colors of childhood. Even in the smallest garden, the pergola becomes a sanctuary. Delicate chimes of sky blue, coral pink, and golden yellow sway above Japanese anemones, their petals glowing in afternoon light. Vines climb the pergola posts, weaving the handmade flowers into nature's own design. Here, the air feels softer, filled with a gentle rhythm that comforts the heart. These bottle chimes are more than decorations. They are songs of renewal, voices of creativity that remind us beauty is not only seen but also felt and heard. The bottles, once empty, now give back to the garden in melodies shaped by color and wind. And so, the pergola blooms not only with flowers in soil, but with blossoms of the sky. Every breeze carries music, every glance reveals color, and every moment beneath the chimes feels touched by wonder.